Hey guys, I have to pause when I say my name now because my name is Pam Peebles. I actually just got married about a week ago and I changed my name. So welcome to today's Millionaire Midday Mastermind series. Thank you so much for joining us. I have the pleasure of being able to interview some of the most brilliant minds in skinny body care where they tell you about how they was able to get started in this business, how they were able to build their business, and how they were able to get to 6 and 7 figures in this industry. And today I have my friend, my brother, one of the top leaders and trainers in this business, Mr. James R. Davis, on the Hangout with us today, and he's going to share some information with us on how he's been able to build his business, tell you about his family, his struggles, just a little bit of everything of how he's been able to build to the top of this business and become one of the trainers for this business and one of the leaders pretty much, not just in the skinny body care industry, but in the health and wellness industry, and why he's so passionate about it and how he's changing thousands of lives. It's just been really amazing to meet him and to hear about how he got involved in this industry and how he's changing people's lives on a daily basis and how that's affected him from a financial perspective. And kind of when you hear his story of his background and what he did in the past, it's really going to surprise some of you guys. And not only that, but it's going to change your perspective on what's available to you, how you can change your life, and how this business can change your life as well, too. So, James, I'm going to start off by asking you a couple of questions. First, thank you for joining us. I know we had to reschedule from last week because I wasn't feeling well, so thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's of course my pleasure to be able to talk with you. You did such a amazing job of talking at the event in Vegas. I want to say last week, but I forgot I took off a week, so it was 2 weeks ago. And I know you shared a little bit about your story, but I want to hear some more about your family. If you can, tell us a little bit about your family.
Um, well, I'm a single father. I have two children. I have a son who is 4, and I have a daughter who's 8. That's my family. My mom, she lives in Memphis in a care home, and I don't really have a big family. My family kind of, I think our last family reunion was like in 1983. So my family is scattered all over the place. My grandmother lives in Memphis. She lived in Pine Bluff, Arkansas for quite a few years. She just recently relocated back to Memphis. So my roots is out of Memphis, Tennessee. I was born and raised. But I don't really have a lot of family because they all just kind of scattered all out everywhere. So my kids, my mom, my skinny body care family, that's who I really consider my family at this point in my life. So that's my family history.
Yeah. And you mentioned your skinny body care family. The event in Vegas was my first event that I came to as part of the skinny body care family. And I think that's a very fitting word, family. And I have to tell you, that's exactly what it feels like, and it's like an extended family. And even since coming back from the event, I got married while I was in Vegas, and then coming back, I got sick, and everyone just kind of rallied around me, both there, um, meeting everyone, and then coming back, congratulating me on the wedding, and then checking on me while I was sick. When I say a big family, it is a big family. So I agree with you. It's an extended family. My family is scattered all over the place too. So I mean, I think that's a great point that you brought up. So how long have you been in this industry, in the network marketing, direct sales industry, however you want to categorize it?
I got involved in network marketing 12 years ago. Um, I almost remember the day that I got involved. I got involved really by accident. At that time, I was working on my job, going out and about. At that time, I was going out selling stuff on the streets because that's the only job that I could get at that time because of my background. Um, and I bumped into a gentleman at a local convenience store. I had approached him about my products that I was selling, and he turned me down, of course. And in that training class of that particular company, we were taught to get as many no's as we could on the street. And so I did what I was trained to do, which was about face him and proceed to go on to the next individual. But he stopped me. He said, "Excuse me, sir. I mean, can I be brutally honest?" Now, you got to mind you, I had just got out of a situation that I had been confined for about 10 years at that time. So he didn't know me. He didn't know me from Adam. I'm walking around in a shirt and tie in July in Memphis. It's hot, hard bottom shoes, slacks. And this guy was rolled up in a Jaguar with a three-piece suit on. And, that really intrigued me because his words were, can I be brutally honest with you? You're in the wrong business. And he and I agreed, we laughed, and he went on to say that, I really want to introduce you to somebody. And that's it. That's how I got involved in network marketing. He didn't try to sell me nothing. He didn't try to convince me of anything. He was brutally honest, and he just wanted to introduce me to someone who would eventually lead me to exposing me to this industry. So that was 12 years ago, in July 2002, and man, my life has not been the same since. I've been full-time now in the industry for 9 of those years. So 3 years after I got involved, I was able to put myself in a position to walk away from corporate America. My background is in loan processing. Because right after that situation, I got a job around December as a loan officer, got promoted within 3 months to office manager, and I managed that company for quite a few years. And like I said, in 2005, March 22nd, around 9:41 a.m., I put in my resignation on my job, and I haven't looked back since. So it's been 12 years now in the industry, 9 years full-time working from home. It's been an incredible journey.
And I know that you mentioned briefly, and you can elaborate as much as you want to share, but I think it's just such a powerful story of transformation. And it shows people it shows perseverance, and it shows what is possible. Because here's the thing, people are constantly talking about, well, what I can't do, or I don't have this. I hear people all the time say, well, if I was you, or I have this, and I always tell people I have a high school diploma. And I just have a lot of guts, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so even before, you and I were talking a little bit before you got on, and I was telling you I have a pending surgery that's going to be coming up. And right before we got on, I had on this little ugly neck thing that I took off so I could look cute for the camera. But, we do what we have to do. And I know your story personally, and if you're okay with sharing a little bit of it, I'd love for them to hear your story, because it shows that, you're not defined by where you come from. You're defined by what you're willing to do. And I think that you're a perfect example because, one, you're a leader in this industry, not just in skinny body care, but in this industry as a whole. And you're an excellent example as a man, as a father, as a person. And I think your background speaks a lot about who you are and what you've accomplished. So if you're willing to, I'd love to know what you did before you started this.
Actually, I guess I'll take you back. Growing up, my mom was very successful. So I can remember, I'm writing a book about it, but I can remember as a child, probably around 9, 10 years old, my mom was a very successful salon owner, and we were rocking and rolling. We were doing very well. And she ended up meeting a guy, and everything changed from that point on. She ended up getting strung out on drugs and prostitution and running the streets and all kinds of different things. And me, my outlet was basketball. Basketball was my passion, and I can still back it up. But basketball was my passion. That was my outlet from the streets, from what was happening in my immediate surroundings. I bounced around a lot as a kid because of that. I stayed with my aunts for a while, my grandmothers, cousins, and eventually, just got around the wrong crowd of people. Got into the wrong influence of people, made some bad decisions, ended up going to prison for about 10 years and 8 months. I had a bunch of robbery charges. I hated drug dealers, and I was, looking back on it now, I just let the devil use me in a way that I can't even relate to anymore. I don't even know who that individual is anymore. But I know that he used me in a way that was just unbelievable. I was out here doing stuff. I wasn't doing drugs. I was out here doing stuff that you would think that a person who's on drugs would be doing. And so it was a very negative time of my life, but at the same time, it was a very needed time in my life because I had two choices. Pam, he was either prison or he was either the graveyard. And that's how drastic it had got in my life. You know, I was losing homeboys all around me. You know, I'm talking about when you start losing people, you know, and you're only 15, 16, 17 years old, you're losing your homies to the streets. You know, it's like, it's just a matter of time before it happens to me. So I tell people that God chose to send me to prison and sit me down for a while and show me what my purpose was in life. And so I didn't dwell in that situation for those 10 years and just exist and just let the time pass me by. Instead, I chose to take advantage of that opportunity and make the most of it. You know, I got every kind of certification that you can think of, from brick mason to carpentry to information processing systems, database, spreadsheets, word processing. You know, I just took all kinds of courses because it was free. You know, I'm in there spending my time, and these courses were free, so I would take advantage of them, you know, and really prepare myself for when I ever got out. You know, it took me 7 years to even complete all my litigations. Didn't know when I was going to get out of prison, but you know, I didn't focus on where I was, what was happening to me. Instead, I focused on what can I do in this situation to come out of this situation a better person than I was before I came. Because I disappointed a lot of people, Pam. I mean, a lot of people believed in me. I was heavily recruited in the 10th grade as a sophomore. I was going to college, got all the way to the 12th grade and got locked up, you know. So I disappointed a lot of people, and I really wanted to prove to myself that I could change my life, turn my life around, and really do something with my life. So when network marketing came in my life, I mean, that was truly a godsend, because even though I had eventually got a job in corporate America and maintained that job, I know the kind of incomes that are created in this industry, corporate America is not going to pay me that kind of money or give me that kind of freedom. So network marketing was definitely the solution, you know, to my situation. I remember reading in prison, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that book alone changed my life, changed my perspective about money, about business, about what I was going to do when I got out. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew what I wanted to do, if that makes any kind of sense. I didn't know what profession I was going to be in, but I knew that I wanted to own my own business. I knew I wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do in my life and give back and impact people's lives with my testimony, because I know that my story can inspire a lot of people, you know. And I was sharing with you earlier, a lot of people don't really want to grow through the situations, the tough times and the valleys, but it's necessary. It's so necessary. And it's not necessarily for you or for me. It's for the masses of people that you want to liberate from your story. So I truly appreciate my experience of going to prison. I don't mind sharing it. I mean, I go into detail about it. I hated drug dealers, and I was a stick-up kid, period, bottom line. And I went on a rampage for years, and they eventually caught up with me. So, and you know, again, as I look back now, I mean, it's amazing how night and dayish that I am now compared to who I was. So I just truly thank God for grace and mercy, man, for bringing me to a point where people like yourself, you know, hundreds and thousands of people that give me accolades and kudos for what I've done, I don't take no credit for it, guys. I give God the glory for it. I'm just a vessel being used. And, you know, on this hangout, if you're guests, understand something. If I can do this business, anybody can do this business. Okay? Anybody can do this business. You just have to want it bad enough, and you have to be willing to associate with the right people, and you have to be willing to work on yourself.
Well, James, I'll tell you one. You're an inspiration to me. I think we come from similar neighborhoods, similar backgrounds, except for I didn't do jail. But I grew up in the hood. I tell people that, you know, when you start making a little money, you clean up really good. So a little bit of money will clean you up, and some makeup and some hair products. But I understand the streets all too well. I grew up on the south side of Chicago next to some of the biggest drug dealers and gangbangers, so I totally understand it. You know, south side, yeah. And I understand it, and that's why I think your story is so powerful, because people always give excuses about why they can't do something. They'll say, oh, well, I can't because of this and I can't because of that. And that's why I wanted you to share your story, because you've overcome obstacles that most people don't have to deal with on a daily basis. And you've been through a situation that most people, they haven't had their freedom taken away from them. I can't imagine doing that, period. I've dealt with things like even what I'm dealing with now, minor inconvenience of having to have some surgery or dealing with some health problems is nothing like having my freedom taken away. And so, folks, if you guys are watching this, this is a man who has overcome having his freedom taken away for not days, not weeks. That's an inconvenience. Years. And yet and still he rose. And here he's now one of the top leaders in this industry. He's a diamond with our company. Average diamond makes over $20,000 per month. So you have to ask yourself, what are you able to accomplish when you put your mind to it? What are you able to accomplish once you stop procrastinating and talking about what you can't do, or asking somebody to give you a handout instead of saying, I just need a hand up? This is a gentleman who's come from a situation that most of us haven't even had to deal with. So that's why I wanted him to share that part of his testimony, because I promise you, I didn't have to deal with that. I mean, literally, never had to deal with that. And I think most of you guys are probably in a similar situation. So if you're watching this today, you're not part of our team, you want to get part of a team of winners, people who overcome situations, we overcome struggles, and then we show you how you can win just like us. Click on the link below and get back to the person who put you on this hangout today, because that's what we do. We change lives, and we show you how you can change yours too. So, James, I love every time I see that. I have to make sure I don't go there, because it's such a powerful part of your story. Because I don't care if it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, it's made you into this phenomenal person. I mean, you really are a phenomenal person, and you're so giving and so sharing with people. And I don't think people realize, my fiance worked, I keep calling him fiance, I'm not used to this wife thing yet. You see, I'm working on it. My husband worked in the prison systems. And so, when I remember when you were sharing that, we were sitting there in Vegas talking, and he was saying, he so respected you, and sharing that story, because he worked as the other side as a correction officer, and he was, right. He knows what that's like, but from the other viewpoint of knowing how you guys had to deal with it. So, seeing you and seeing what you've accomplished, I mean, we talked about that for a long time. And he was like, I got so much respect for that, brother, because of. And then he went on and on and on, because he worked in the correction system for 10 plus years. So in Rikers Island in New York. So, totally got it. And from his perspective, I understood it totally different from even how I would have before, as he explained it to me, and was saying, you wouldn't ever want to. And I was like, oh, I couldn't make it a day there. I just couldn't. So when he started explaining that to me, I have a whole different respect. Not that I never did, but when someone explains it to you from a different perspective, and even probably still he fully doesn't understand. But that's why I have so much admiration for you and seeing what you've accomplished. And that's why I think a lot of people, for those of you guys who are making excuses, I want you to look very closely at this man and what he's accomplished. $20,000 or more, because I'm not asking him to disclose what he's making. I'm telling you, he's making a minimum of $20,000 a month. And we said 12 years ago, James, this all took place?
Yeah, 12 years ago I got in the industry, yeah.
Okay, y'all ain't got no excuse. Y'all go ahead and click on the link. All right, so I'm just saying. So how many companies have, well, because there's no excuses. If you can do this, they can. Period. Point blank. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I have a high school diploma, no college. You have people like Tim Miller. You have people like Courtney, people like yourself. There's no reason why you guys can't do it. Stop making excuses as to why you can't live the life of your dreams. Period.
Right.
So, how many companies were you with prior to being with this company?
Actually, that gentleman, he introduced me to a guy named Trini Williams. So that was Amway. That was my first company. Proud of the fact that I was able to get that experience. I was in that company a year. I made about $47 and some change for the year. But I didn't miss a meeting. I didn't miss a beat, because it was a totally different environment. I mean, it had expanded my mind. Les Brown says that once your mind is expanded, it can never go back to its original form. And that was me. I was hooked in being in the environment. Didn't make any money with that company. Then from there, I went to Ameriplan. Stayed in that company about a year. I made about $3,000 for that year in that company. Made a little bit more money. And then from there, I went into a legal service company. That company I worked for about 6 years. It allowed me to walk away from corporate America. And then from there, kind of start really understanding comp plans, understanding systems, and understanding leaderships and owners. And I took a break for about almost a year, and just really researched the industry, because I had an epiphany, Pam, and that was when I looked at the top income earners in the world of network marketing. I discovered that the majority of them was not in a service-driven company. And so when I went from the legal service industry, right before I got in this company, I was in a cell phone company, a prepaid cell phone company. We running that company and broke records. We rocked that company in a matter of months. So Amway, Ameriplan, Legal Shield, and Lightyear. So 4 companies I was in before I came to Skinny Body Care. I came to Skinny Body Care July 4th, 2011.
Listen, maybe you guys kind of didn't hear this part, but I want to really hammer this in, because a lot of you guys get into businesses, and these are mastermind series, and the reason behind these masterminds are because on an everyday basis you don't get the opportunity to strategize with people like James. So I want you guys to really give some thought to what's being said here. He was with the first company, and you said you made how much?
$43.19.
Okay.
Yeah.
$43
For the whole year.
For the whole. Okay. See, some of you guys will quit because y'all ain't make $5,000 in a week. I mean, I want you guys to understand the point I'm making here, because some of y'all are off the chain with this, and I'm not going to go there because that's not what this is about. But what I want to say is that you have to find your why. The reason he stuck it out is because I remember him saying this in Vegas. He got addicted to the personal development. He got addicted to being around successful people, and that's why he's here now 12 years later. I'm just being honest. And because of that, because he had a why that was bigger than just the money. Some of y'all are just so caught up on the quick fix, which is the money, and you don't have a why. And so because of that, you're just, I need to pay my bills. And that gets old after a while. You can go anywhere and pay your bills. You can work at McDonald's. You can work at Walmart. You can go and do anything if you just need to make some quick money. But you have to be passionate about wanting to help people and better yourself and better your own life. And some of you guys don't have any whys. You don't know why you want to do it. For me, I want freedom. I took off all last week while I was sick, and I wasn't worried about bills because I have money coming in. My bills were paid. I got money in the bank. My why is to be able to go to places like Vegas and stay at the best resort and still come back and have money to live off of and take off for a week, because I did get sick all of a sudden without expectation. And to be able to get married while I was there and still be able to run my business. Those are part of my whys. But if you don't have a why and it's just about having money, just to be able to pay your bills but not to be able to enjoy your life or have freedom or take care of your kids or anything else, it's not going to work for you. So point being, he was behind the personal development. He loved being around the success. I love being around winners. I love talking to him. I love talking to him because he's a real person. He's not sitting here trying to fluff it up, talking about, well, you got to talk to 7 people. He basically says you talk to people until you find enough people. Some of you guys want to know exact numbers. You want to know, well, if I talk to 6 people, then will I make my million? No, you might have to talk to 6,000. I'm not giving you no number. I'm not telling you how many hours you got to put in. Real people understand that. So listen to that, folks. For less than $50. He was there for a year. Y'all would have quit after 2 weeks. I'm just saying. So, think about it. So I'm not even going to ask him the next question about whether or not he ever thought about quitting. He never thought about quitting. He stayed for a year and made $50. Hello. So on the Hangout page, I want to know how many of you guys are willing to stick here for a year if you only make $50. I mean, that's commitment. It is commitment to being a better person. It explains again why you are doing 6 figures a year and getting ready to hit 7 figures within the next 12 months. So I'm just saying. Um, who introduced you to Skinny Body Care?
Um, her name is Makita Powell. It's crazy because I had heard that people were getting paid to show a movie on Facebook around February of that year, 2011, but I didn't believe it. We laughed. And 5 months later, July 4th, 2011 to be exact, I get an inbox from someone who's the young lady, and I had been watching her for a while. She was one of those people that talks about this business 1 minute, then another business the next minute, then another business the next minute. So I was very hesitant, Pam, to even join this individual because this individual hit me up and said, "Hey James, watch this movie and take a free tour." And I watched the movie and started talking about skinny fiber, and I was really not interested at that point. But the movie was only 4 minutes long, 5 minutes long. So the compensation plan really intrigued me. Being that I've been around the block for 12 years and I've seen this industry, I understand comp plans, I understand what's going on in this industry. I was blown away by their comp plan. I couldn't get around it. So about 4 hours later that day, she inboxed me again and said, "Hey, I see that you haven't joined yet. Watch this video." And it was the video done by the gentleman that you interviewed a couple of weeks ago, Tim Miller, who was a crown diamond in the company, who made over $2 million in this company. At that time, I had watched his video that showed me the money video on YouTube, and I listened to his posture. I had read about Tim. I remember saying to myself, what in the world is this guy doing in skinny body care? Because I had read about him being in the travel industry. He was the #1 income over there. And when he went to his back office and showed the numbers, I joined that day. So Ms. Powell is my sponsor, but that's the last time that I ever heard from that young lady. I hadn't heard from my sponsor since. In fact, I don't even know if she's still in business. But that's who my sponsor is, and that's how I got involved in Skinny Body Care.
Yeah, and what would you say makes Skinny Body Care different? Because you've been in the business for 12 years. So I'm still new, so I'm still learning a lot of stuff. So every day, John is my sponsor, and so he emails, we email back and forth, and then before John became, well, it's another story, but I would email with Tim, and Tim, who's your sponsor, was teaching me a lot of things. I say, oh, I didn't know that because I'm still learning so much about this business. But one of the things I can tell you that makes Skinny Body Care different is that people are so helpful. But what was your experience coming from other companies? Because I don't have a lot of comparisons. So what's your comparison to other things you've done?
This company is different because really 2 words. And there are several factors that I can point out to people and show you why Skinny Body Care. But really 2 words: pioneer seat. Pioneer seat. Fortunately for me, when I was with Legal Shield, I got the opportunity to be at 2 conventions where they had a legends panel where people got involved when the company first started. And they would share horror stories of how they would sell the membership to people and they didn't even want them to use it because they knew it didn't work. So it was, hearing those stories and being able to corner off these leaders and talk to them and sit down and have lunch with them and really pick their brains, I understood where Skinny Body Care was in the beginning at that time, which was only, 6, 7 months old. I understood where they were. In the history of network marketing, there are thousands of companies in this industry. There are hundreds of weight loss products in this industry. There are hundreds of different compensation plans. But when I looked at the comp plan, it had never been done in the industry. It was totally different. I was just praying that the product worked like it said it was going to do, because that was my biggest hang up. I wasn't going to touch it. But pioneer seat, that's why I chose Skinny Body Care. That's why I'm here. My flag planted. I've never been first to build a company. I saw that Ben Glinsky was doing some untraditional things over here. From when I again going back, I don't mean to keep mentioning the company, but going back to my past in these companies, that legal company, a legal industry company, they had a $40-something million corporate office that was coming off of our backs. So, little things like that, the infrastructure of how the business model was set up, that was a big difference. The ways that we got compensated over here, just mind blowing. The way Ben is so generous, he's paying out 80% on the front end. And I remember when I saw that, I said, "Well, how in the world is he going to sustain this company?" And when I discovered he did not have a big $30 million or $40 million office, I said, "Okay, this guy is on to something. He's really on to something with his compensation plan." But again, couldn't get around the product. The product was the biggest hang up for me. But here we are now, 3 years later, we're diamond in the company now. We hit diamond in March. I can tell you guys this: skinny fiber is not on trial anymore. I was willing as a leader to take the punches, take the criticisms, the paint bottle. I was willing to grow through that process because, see, our products and services go through three phases. Number one is ridiculed, it's violently opposed. It's ridiculed, it's violently opposed, and then it becomes self-evident. Okay? And in the beginning, even now, we're still being ridiculed, we're still being violently opposed, but in the beginning, even now, we're still.
Okay, it looks like we may have lost him for a second. Let's see if we can't get him back. All right, so while we're waiting for James to come back on, nope, we're still frozen. So while we're waiting for James to come back on, for those of you guys who are joining us, someone invited you to this page, what I want you guys to do is, one, take all the information that's being shared with you today and absorb it. The purpose of these Midday Millionaire Mastermind series is for you to be able to get coaching, training, to learn from some of the top leaders in skinny body care, and who also some of the top leaders in the health and wellness industry, who are showing you exactly how they were able to build their business, how they were able to come from nothing in most instances and build a 6 and even 7-figure business using our product, using our flagship product, which is Skinny Fiber. We also have a product called Ageless. Feel free to click on the link below if you want to get more information, or if you're ready, go ahead and join our team. One thing I can tell you is that we have phenomenal leaders, just like James in our business, who can show you how to grow your business, show you how you can get started today for very little money, considering what you can make in this business, and also grow your business to a 6 or 7-figure business within 6 months, 12 months. It all comes down to what you're willing to put into it. You get out of anything whatever you're willing to put into it. So we're going to give James a couple seconds and see if we can get him back on. I don't know if we completely lost him and lost his signal. And hopefully we can get him back so we can wrap up. I know that he also does a call at 1 p.m., 12 o'clock noon Central Standard Time, where he does the War on Weight. He's so passionate about helping people. He's so passionate about showing people how they can change their lives. So Monday through Friday, he actually has a call that takes place. So our goal was to get this wrapped up by 1 o'clock so that he can make sure that he's able to make that call as well. So we can't get him back on here. Then what we'll have to do is we'll have to wrap this session up at another time. And again, and ask him some more questions because I definitely want to finish up this interview with him. But for those of you guys who are looking at this for the very first time, make sure that if you have any questions, there is a button at the top of this page that says get more information. But if you're ready to join our team, go ahead and click on the blue link that says join our team. And whoever brought you to this page, they will get you started. We have a great group where you can get tons of information and resources that's going to help you build your business. We have trainings like this twice a week where we have our Midday Mastermind series on Tuesday and Thursday at noon. And then Wednesday, we have a hangout. In addition to that, we have tons of other calls during the week. Monday and Thursday, we have calls and we have webinars. And when we say that we are hooking you guys up with training, Monday through Friday, there's always something going on that's going to help you grow yourself personally and help you promote your business. So there are multiple opportunities for you to get involved, multiple opportunities for you to grow your business, and many reasons why you should be partnered with us, and no reason why you can't grow in this business. So I think we have permanently lost James. I don't know that he's going to be able to get back on with us because I don't know that he realizes that he is frozen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Sorry that we weren't able to get him back on this hangout. Guys, we will try and get him back on again because I definitely want to get the rest of his story, find out more about how he built his team, and get advice from him on how you guys can do the same as far as building your team, because he's built a huge organization. Not only has he built a huge organization, but he's also doing some phenomenal things as far as building his business offline. So he's doing a lot of sales offline, and he's going to share that information with us. And I know it can be extremely helpful with you guys. So I want to make sure that, and hold tight, let me see if we got him. So I want to make sure we can try and get him to share that information with you guys as well. If James is trying to get back on with us, so hold tight just for a minute, guys. In the meanwhile, while he's logging in, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, go ahead and post them on our Dream Team Hangout page, and we'll try and get them in before James has to get off of this Hangout session. So go to our Dream Team Hangout page and just post your questions. If you guys have any questions, and we'll try and get them in really quick before he has to go. This is technology, folks. It's live. Okay, looks like we still have not gotten James on, and I know he's got to get back to his training at 1 o'clock. So let's do this so that we don't hold him up. Let's go ahead and reschedule and get him back on. He can answer some more questions for us. We definitely want to know how he's been able to build his team and get some advice for you guys on how you can do the same as far as building your business offline as well. So sorry, folks. We will get James back on here as soon as he's able to reschedule with us. Maybe we'll do it in a later time in the day. I think he's having some problems with his internet. So he's trying to get on, but we're having some problems with it. So guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's Mastermind series, and what we'll have to do is a part 2 of this. Technology, you got to love it. Everything is live. So thank you so much for joining us. On Thursday, I have the pleasure of having my sponsor on, John, which is just going to be, I can't even begin to tell you how excited. This man, he has a wealth of knowledge, tons of information, years of experience in the business. Him and his wife are double diamonds in the industry, did it in less than 90 days. So I'm excited to have them on, or have John on, be able to share this information with you guys and tell you how he was able to build his team, one of the fastest growing teams in the company. So we'll have John on Thursday. We'll get James back on here as soon as he gets internet access again. And guys, again, if you're thinking about joining this company, you have more quick questions, then click on the link to get more information. Otherwise, go ahead and get started. As you can see, this is a great company to be involved with, great team leaders. And we have these Midday Millionaire Mastermind series so that you can get an idea of what's possible for you. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Pam, and I'll see you guys again on Thursday. Take care.